Hey guys and girls, how are you? Let me know in the comments. This week I was watching a few small streamers like myself, and one of the main things that I noticed was not the inability to get kills, but the inability to get effective kills. Now by this, I don't mean that more kills equals better. Instead, I mean more effective kills mean that you are progressing as a player and getting better, as well as actually being beneficial to your team. Pretty much anyone can play Reyna or Jett and drop 25 kills because they're constantly in 1v4 situations because the rest of their team has died and they've spent the entire round lurking. Is that useful? Does that benefit the team? No. So what I'm going to go over in this video is 5 ways to get more effective kills in Valorant and improve as a player, as well as helping your team get wins. So let's go. Ooh, I don't know what that was. Tip number 1, be more selectively aggressive. What this means is that being passive has its time and place. Say you're on your own and the entire team is rushing you, makes no sense to be aggressive in that situation. But being aggressive at the right time can set you and your team up for success. Say you're playing on Pearl and you notice the other team likes to default a lot. What most teams would do is simply counter that and default themselves. What I would recommend is, for example, instead of 2 going mid with 1 coming from Art and the other coming from B-Link, have no one in B-Link and instead have 2 people coming out from Art. And while you do this, have one of you at a weird angle and the other at a more predictable angle. This way, when the inevitable mid-peak comes, you have 2 people to their 1, and at the very least, you should be trading that kill. At best, you get the kill and you have 2 people now and entire mid control. Or say you're playing defender side on Bind. You start at A short, but a teammate tells you they're pushing B through hookah and B long, otherwise known as a B split. You wouldn't go through the teleporter to get to hookah, would you? Because they'll know exactly where you are. But maybe that could be the point. Instead of going back through spawn to get to B side and taking forever, maybe you do teleport. And what would this do? Well, it would 1, take their attention away from rushing site from hookah because now they have someone right behind them to worry about, and 2, this slowdown tactic gives your teammates time to rotate to the site and set up. In situations like this, I guarantee you 1 or 2 of the opposing players will become obsessed with you just sitting in the teleporter, seemingly doing nothing. But say you're playing Phoenix, you can just sit there and wait. You can listen to their team rotating, or if they don't successfully push, rotating all the way to A. Then you can flash out of the teleporter. Maybe you die, but you're giving your team really useful information. And while you've been in that teleporter the entire time, maybe a teammate has flanked through A and caught them off. Or maybe they've all rotated to A and you're able to leave the teleporter freely. You now have a really weird flank on them that they might not expect, and if they do, they're still going to be obsessed with you being right behind them, making it a little bit more of an ineffective push on their behalf. It's sort of weird, counterintuitive ideas like this that can actually completely change the round or even the half, sometimes even the game. And it ties perfectly into number 2. Be unpredictable. Yes, you're on Fracture and you're playing Chamber and you have your ultimate, you're going to go B long. That's pretty much the default meta and everybody is expecting it. So what happens if you go to Drop or Arcade instead? They won't expect you there, and someone is much more likely to peek that angle for information and give you a free easy kill. And then you're 4v5 for the rest of the round. What I've learned playing Valorant from Silver all the way through to Immortal lobbies is that each rank has a sort of default meta that people sort of play by. What this means is you might get a Diamond Smurf in a Silver lobby and they actually do incredibly poorly, and you start to wonder, how the hell are they Diamond? Is Diamond washed? Are they not even any good? Well, it's because in different ranks, people play in different ways and expect different things. Say for example, this Smurf is playing Brimstone. He mollies a certain area of the map and he expects no one's gonna push that. Why would they? So instead, he focuses his attention on a different part of the map. Well, this is a different rank. People play differently. So whilst he's looking at a different angle, just assuming no one's gonna walk straight through a molly, somebody does and catches him off guard, and he gets killed in a Silver lobby, wondering why the hell would they do that. This is a more dramatic example, but it gives you the idea that sometimes playing in the stupid way actually makes sense because nobody expects it. Knowing when to do things like this, like pushing through a brim molly, depends on what kind of weapons your team has, as well as how your team is playing, util usage, etc, etc. But eventually you start to learn what's expected of your rank, and once you do start to notice that, you can know to avoid it. And by avoiding it, you're going to catch the opposition off guard and be able to get a lot of easy kills that will help your team, as well as yourself. Number 3, reimagine how your util can be used. What I mean by this is, say you're playing Killjoy, that doesn't mean you need to just sit on site and let people come to you. Playing your role is important and is one thing, but also knowing how to use your util in unique and interesting ways is a great way to catch the enemy off guard and put your team in a better position. Say you are playing Killjoy and you're on Ascent B site. Now, normally you'd have a turret maybe here, your alarm bot here, and some mollies here. But what about if you just gave them sight? They're rushing B anyway. What is the point of staying on site just to maybe get one kill and die? Let your util work for you. Instead, put your turret in the corner here and an alarm bot right underneath alley with your mollies either side. What this does is, because your attacking team has entered alley and B site, they think Killjoy is probably playing A instead and that they have the entire site to themselves, so they're going to rush in even harder. As soon as they drop down, however, the alarm bot goes off and they're weakened. Meanwhile, the turret, which is broken by the way, starts firing and you pop your mollies. This might not get you a kill, but it's going to do some serious damage to at least 1 or 2 people on the other team. Meanwhile, you're just sitting in spawn or market or something with 150 HP in a dream. And from that point, you can basically retake site with your teammates, knowing that you've damaged pretty heavily at least 1 or 2 of the other players. This is just an example, and admittedly it's quite a specific one, but the general point is, don't just stick to doing one thing. Try different things out, try a few different strategies. Not all of them are going to work. Make it up as you go, but the ones that do work will stick in your brain, and eventually you're going to start remembering the things that work, and you're going to have not 1, not 2, but 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways to play your agent and use your util. Imagine how many kills you're going to get by catching people off like that. They're not going to expect it. So again, in a situation like this, you're going to be getting kills, you're going to be helping your team get kills, and more importantly, you're going to be getting wins. This soy guy actually has some pretty useful information. You know what? Maybe I will subscribe. Number 4, plan the round ahead of time. By this, I mean, how do you think the round is going to pan out? Did you lose the first round and now you're low on creds? And you're playing Icebox. Have you noticed that the other team is overly confident and just loves to flank? This is all really useful information that you should be paying attention to, because you're not playing the map, you're playing the opponent. In this situation, for example, you're playing Cypher on Icebox. So what should you do? You know the other team has Phantoms or Vandals and you're broke. Well, in this situation, you buy a Stinger. You sit on a weird angle, say in kitchen, playing off of your trips. You know they're going to try and push mid, likely through tube, so you use a Cypher trip and you try and catch them off guard. You get your timing right, and bam, you've killed their ego flanker and you've got a free Phantom or Vandal in the process. Or say you're attacking and your team is the one exuding confidence, and you've noticed that the other team is playing really passively. In this situation, you know you're going to be pushing hard, so maybe you buy a Spectre because you're expecting more close range fights that benefit the burst rate of a Spectre over, say, a Vandal. These are just a few examples, but the main takeaway is to take note of how the enemy team is playing, as well as how you think the round will develop, which will impact what guns you think you should buy. As you go higher and higher in ranks, you'll start to notice these sorts of patterns more and more, and then you can start chain linking up util usage between agents. Say for example, using an Astra Suck and using a Raise Grenade for some amazing results. Number 5, practice what you preach. This one is a no-brainer, and honestly everybody is a little bit of a victim to it, myself included. Everybody knows that when you're using a Vandal, you burst your shots, and so many people, when they're in a deathmatch, are amazing with the Vandal or amazing with the Phantom, and then as soon as it comes to an actual game and they see an enemy agent, what do? They start spraying everywhere. The answer is a lot of people do this. So this tip might set you back 5%, but it's going to put you forward 100% in the long term. Not even in the long term, in the short to medium term. Trust me, it's better to use these right habits and occasionally die, taking that extra second to focus on the head, than it is to just spray your bullets and occasionally get a headshot. Because what that tells your brain is, hey, this kind of works, this spraying thing. That's not good. As you develop and get better and better, that's going to be working less and less. Instead, use your actual practice techniques in games themselves. Again, you're going to be taking that extra half a second to really focus on hitting a headshot, but as you get more and more confident, that half a second will become 0.25 of a second, and eventually you're going to become a demon. All this wrapped up is going to be a great benefit to your aim as well as your mental. Number 6? Your mental state in games is huge. Learn to control yourself and learn to know what your triggers are if you're susceptible to tilting. Blowing up on your team is a great way to kill morale and have everybody not wanting to actually win at all. There is absolutely nothing wrong with discussing how a round could have panned out if you played it differently. But learn how to talk to your teammates, learn how to not talk down to them, learn how to actually discuss things as a team, and everybody is going to want to actually win and be on that team together because it is a team game. And that one guy with a huge ego that's got 20 kills and thinks he's amazing, he's not going to carry you every single game, and you shouldn't be relying on him. Yes, sometimes you'll get trolls and people actively throwing and things like that, and honestly, there's nothing you can do about it. Wait, that's wrong. You can do something about it. Mute them. Trust me, getting the extra bit of comms from that guy who's actually tilting everybody on the team is not worth it. It's always going to be better to have zero communications from them while keeping your mental state strong. Be the tone maker of your team. Say nice try or unlucky when people are trying their best and not succeeding. If someone does really well, say good job. Or if somebody is not doing particularly well and they have a really good round, tell them. It's going to help their confidence massively, and in games like Valorant, confidence is everything. This will go a long way to helping your mental state in-game as well as out of game, and trust me, as you get higher and higher, the mental side of the game is even bigger. So practice it early, get positive, and you will get more positive wins. And that's it! Using these 5 or 6 steps, you will improve as a Valorant player. Some of them might feel awkward at first, but stick to them. Improvement is not always in big jumps. Small, incremental improvements over time are going to yield a much better result for you, and will see you becoming the player that you wish you were. So let me know what tips you have that helped you improve and rank up in the comments below. I look forward to reading them all. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Also, we hit 100 subscribers this week, so thank you so much to everybody that subscribed and for everybody that supports me. Love you all. Peace out from your boy Soy.